Hello. All right, everyone, good morning. Please come in with your food at this time to this sanctuary, and we are beginning the program, and you don't want to miss it. So please come take a seat. Yeah. Great. Yay. Oh, yeah. Okay, go sit down. My love colors outside the lines, exploring past that few could ever find. It takes me into places where I've never been before and opens doors to worlds outside the lines.
My Lord colors outside the lines, turns wounds to blessings and water into wine, and takes me into places where I've never been before and opens doors to worlds outside the lines.
And we'll never walk on water if we're not prepared to drown. Body and soul need a soaking from time to time. And we'll never move the gravestones if we're not prepared to die and realize there are worlds outside the lines.
My soul longs to color outside the lines. Tear back the curtains, sun come in and shine. I want to walk boundaries where I've never been before, through open doors to worlds outside the lines. I walk to boundaries where I've never been before, through open doors to worlds outside the lines. Yes. Sorry about that.
Hey, Dawn, you did it! You're moving on. That is exciting to hear and also a little sad to hear for the people at Southminster. You know, my whole career as a teacher, we always had this little running joke. Did you make a difference today? Did you make a difference today? And hopefully at the end of the day it was, yeah, I made a difference today. Don, you're like the epitome of that. You are that difference. And how blessed and grateful am I to have known you. And I hope you and Kathy, whatever is happening for you and your family moving forward, is just an amazing adventure. You deserve that because of all the amazing adventures that you have led along your path of making a difference. You're awesome, Don. This is one of my favorite things is that one time that you and I almost went to Cuba together. Do you remember that? Except somebody fell off a ladder and hit his head and was not allowed to leave the country. But we worked on this song. Remember this? Hey, Don, you did it! You're moving on. Okay, here we go. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. Do not make me sing this song by myself. Don, please. Here we go. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Yo soy un hombre sincero, that's you, de donde crece la palma. Y antes de morir mi quiero cantar los versos de alma. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Don, Kathy, mwah. I love you guys.
Find the teacher. Good, it's on. Got to wait for my partner to get in position here. Well, this is Craig Butler from the Christian Nut Network, CNN. Newsflash, Don Ludwig is retiring. We are so pleased to have Mrs. Eloise McGillicuddy on the line from West Spokane. Eloise was Don's third grade teacher. She's nearing 100 now, but she's excited to join us by phone from her skilled nursing facility. Mrs. McGillicuddy, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I am. Is this Donnie?
Donnie? No, this is Craig Butler. I'm going to interview you about Don Ludwig right now. Is that all right?
Oh, of course, of course.
What was it like having Donnie in third grade?
Oh, he was such a joy. A real joy. He was entirely his own person from the beginning. Other boys would play kickball on the playground at recess time, but not Donnie, no.
Really? What would he do at recess?
Well, I can't remember exactly what, one teacher or another was always saying, oh my God, what the hell is that boy up to now? But even then he wanted to be a sociologist.
A psychologist?
No, sociologist.
Even in third grade?
Oh, yes. Mark my words, he'd say. Such a precocious little boy. Mark my words, he'd say. One day I'll be a Presbyterian sociologist.
A Presbyterian sociologist?
Yeah, but he couldn't spell either of those words. And neither can I, but...
Yeah, neither can I. Did he have any special goals then?
Oh, yes. He was always saying, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to make the world a better place. I've never seen such a desire in everyone to be such a good boy all the time. Little Donnie Ludwig, he was about 2.5 feet tall. He would force old people to cross the street just so he could help them across.
Oh
Taking
dear.
I remember once out dragging what was nearly the corpse of an old lady across Monroe Avenue.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh yeah, they were both nearly killed.
Did anything else set him apart, Mrs. McGillicuddy?
Well, now that I think of it, one other thing. I remember how he was determined to overmarry.
Overmarry. What
Overmarry.
do you mean by that?
Well, you know, find some beautiful creature who was entirely out of his class and make her his own. He wrote me, you know, about Kathy shortly after their nuptials. He liked to brag, Donnie did, always bragging.
Well, that's all we have time for, I'm afraid, Mrs. McGillicuddy. Thanks so much for calling us.
Thank you, too. Oh, I'm up now? Okay. All right. Just a brief presentation to Don. Who will ever forget Don's extraordinary sermon? I think Princeton Seminary has given you special recognition for the sermon you gave on Taylor Swift. You all know Don's a huge Swiftie. And so I have a little presentation for him. It's a Taylor Swift coloring and activity book, something for you to do on Sunday mornings when we know you'll have lots of time. Don has a lot of Taylor Swift posters, of course. Secret's out now. And you'll have this to add to your collection. So thank you.
Oh, wait. Hi. Okay. I'm Evie. I don't know if we're going to talk in order, but I am Tony and Sierra's older sister. And a lot of you, I grew up in this church. Don and Kath became my parents. It a very, very important part of my life. And I have, ever since, my life has been forever changed. Don, today's about you. I cannot impress or put an emphasis of how great of a father you have been. Not only are you a father to us, and being a father to us, you have been, in what it feels like to me, a father to the world. You not only saved my life, you and Kath, you continue to save lives. And when you mentioned the importance of Southminster continuing on nurturing the youth, I remembered myself. A very young girl, afraid, lost. Looking up to God for answers. Why my life was happening the way it was. And you came, both of you, and you said, here, come in. We will show you why. And you have never left my hand since. I have grown up to be this young woman today. because of you. I had no idea, as a young girl from Africa, with the history that I have, that I could find a home. And you both pulled me up and said, here, this is what a home looks like. Here, honey. You may not see where you're going, but we do. And I remember that first time you both decided to take me in your home and adopt me as your own. You didn't see anything, you just saw your daughter that you wanted to nurture and love and show what life is and to teach what life isn't. So all this to say, I sit here today as a testament and as a confirmation that you are a man of your word. You not only speak about things, Papa, you do it. You not only preach about things, you demonstrate it with every ounce of your being, your soul, your physicality, and your mind. You are not just changing lives, and your legacy here at Southminster will always stand, for you have given us a home in and out of here. So Southminster was blessed that you walked in. Actually, apparently, you were on a wheelchair. You wheelchaired in here, and you said, I am going to make a difference. And you did. So thank you, Papa. I will continue to be grateful, and I know you're retiring here, and this is a good moment for you to probably go find fun activities that you can do. and just know that you and Mama are the world changers, and you do it one step at a time. Thank you.
Okay, well, as most of you know, I was adopted at the age of 9, and to be honest, I kind of had no idea what was going on. So I was kind of there, and the judge just asked me a question, and I said yes, but looking back at it, I'm really glad I said yes, and well, hopefully I'm glad, but I'm very grateful to this community and my parents for kind of introducing me to this community, because as like a 9-year-old moving to a whole different state, having like no friends, like nobody he really knew, like just like having everyone here be so welcome, it means a lot. And so like the last 9 years of my life have been like, it's been not, I wouldn't say easy, but it's been a lot easier than it would have been if I wouldn't have gone to this community. But I'm also like very grateful for my parents for raising me to be the person I am today. Like my dad is probably the most like strong person I know, and my mom is probably the most like kind person I know, and without them, I don't think I'd be the person I am today. So I just wanted to thank them for like kind of supporting me with everything and pushing me to be the person I am. So, yeah.
When I talked to Jen, she said, "Oh, why don't you write a skit?" I'm like, "I'm not a screenwriter. I don't write skits." But then I got to thinking, and a few phrases came to mind. One of them was, "Let's go send Jeffrey to the grocery store for some alcohol." No, rubbing alcohol is what we needed, and it's not a good thing for a chaperone to say, "Let's send the teenager on an alcohol run." Or, "We better go check on someone because they've been filling up water balloons outside in Alaska at night, and he might have hypothermia." Yeah. So my mother was a kindergarten teacher for 30 years. So when this book came out in the 1986, it's all I really need to know I learned in kindergarten. And I decided to switch that up a bit and say all I need to know I learned on mission trips with Dawn. In Sitka, Alaska, we found out what Alaska time was. They would plan something and it never happened on time. But it made the kids and teenagers there and everybody think, take time to see what's around you, to enjoy what's around you, to be thankful and thank what is around you. And that was a very meaningful moment for me. And then there was the time we required a whole bunch of teamwork. We had done tie-dye, and it was on polyester material. And those of you who know about material, polyester doesn't dye well unless you use the additive that will make it set. We forgot to do that. So as good people, we were washing them as the instructions said, and these lovely tie-dyed pillowcases came out white. And we couldn't possibly disappoint the kids that were there. So many of us sat, one girl knew exactly what colors everybody had done. So we sat and colored with Sharpie markers. And that's why we needed the rubbing alcohol, because if you put rubbing alcohol on Sharpie markers, it makes it look sort of like tie-dye. We only had one kid that wouldn't take that as what they had done. They go, "I didn't make that." So we had to tell him that, yeah, we tried to make it so you wouldn't be disappointed. And I found it very blessed to be able to give the young adults that I went on the mission trips with room to spread their wings and fly, and know that you don't always have to give every little instruction. It's okay for them to make mistakes and just be there when things fall apart and to make sure no one gets hurt. And that was a wonderful thing. Then when we were in Anchorage, Alaska, many years later, we went to the food bank to help them. They kept bringing pallets of 10-pound bags of carrots, or were they 50 pounds? They were large. And the young adults packed and packed. In fact, they packed over a ton of carrots into smaller bags. And the people at the food pantry, or at the food center, stayed late because they said we need to have it done by 3, and it was about 3:15, 3:30 by the time we finished up. So they were impressed too. And I've never seen so many young adults work so well together. There were 3 or 4 of us that were just taking the bags over and putting them on a pallet. We couldn't keep up with them. So that was another one that really came to mind. And then when we were in Puerto Rico, we had everything planned, everything went well, and then the pandemic we went during the pandemic, and of course, you know what happened. We kept having people drop off, getting sick, and when we got there, the people that were supposed to help us with our building projects, they had COVID. So, like any good basketball team does, or good player does, we stopped, pivot, and we found ways that we could help members of several church congregations. The camp where we were staying had some hurricane damage that they hadn't got, so some of the boys were carrying down sheets of plywood and tree limbs from on top of the hill. So we did well, and we did what we could and made a difference in their lives. And then Spokane, we were there so many times, and I know the church we went to, which is now no longer there, but they're not gone, they're still in spirit. There was a small number of them, and they were all white-haired. I felt tired after all they did with what they did for the community, and they were always so gracious to host us and feed us and just be there. And I know it was a great experience for all the kids. And another thing he taught us was, if you don't go outside your box, you'll never grow. And I know there was another teenager that was with us who was not into singing at all. And I finally said, you don't have to sing, just do the motions so that the kids know that you're there and involved. And by the end of the week, I looked over, and there he is doing all the motions. So it was something that he didn't think about, but I noticed it. And I really found it a very humbling experience to share the time in the learning and a great group of young adults and Dawn on, 8 or 9 different mission trips. So I'm here for the next few. So, we'll continue the missions. And Dawn, you've instilled in these children and youth that they have some incredible gifts, and they've shared them with those who they encounter on their path. Thank you for your work and privilege of sharing the path with them, and let me be part of that. And then I remember one time, Kathy, we were all holding hands in a circle before we left and had a prayer. And I got a hug and a whisper in the ear, "I'm so glad you're going on this trip." I felt like a right hand on. It's going to be hard to replace that, but we always do. Just like I said that to Stephen, and we have Gabby now, so we know we'll survive and keep going, and you'll always be a part of my art. And by the way, Diet Coke's better.
Thank you, Mary. On that note, I would love you to stand if you were ever a student in Dawn's youth group. So if you could stand, young adults, full-on adults. Awesome. So thank you, Dawn and Kathy. Appreciate it. And now I would like you to stand if you have gone on any mission trip with Dawn Ludwig. Okay, at this time, I'm going to invite the youth to come up, and they're going to share one word, kind of, about Dawn and Kathy. So come on up. And Afua is going to start us off with more than one word.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. Today I have written a spoken word / poetry that is called A Million Dreams. And the reason why it's called A Million Dreams is because Dawn and Kathy make me feel like I can accomplish any dream or wish, and it can be done with a growth mindset and belief in myself. To start this off, a better world is what two creators' missions are by innovating, changing, and building. An individual steps into the hands of Dawn and Kathy and feel the radiation of uncomfortability and integrity for change. Change not only in the world, but in the minds of their peers. As we evolve as humans, we must begin to realize we must accomplish our dreams by innovating, changing, and building. They dreamed of what they could accomplish and accomplished it because of the vision forward. 40 years strong. Can I say that again? 40 years, everyone. Like, dang, I'm tired too. Like, and they have never stayed the same. Never. And by staying the same is to be comfortable with the way things are. They proceeded to innovate, change, and build. As we've been brought a notion that our dreams are possible, not by only two creators telling us so, but because we believe it too. Believe in the power that can spark when we ignite our souls with another like-minded human being. We can transform the world by the power and the use of our voice and our inner power. Now, we must innovate, change, and build to accomplish our dreams. Don't stop trying and don't give up. Thank you, Dawn and Kathy, for making me feel like I can accomplish my dreams.
Hello. Hi, guys. I'm Sierra. I just want to first of all say I love all of you. You guys are very open-minded people. I first came to the church when I moved in with Michelle James, who was a very good mother to me. And when she first mentioned that she came here, I didn't want to feel stuck and forced to be a part of something. But she was like, oh, it's chill. And so I was like, okay. And it is so, you guys are just, the energy of this church is so chill. Okay, she of course didn't say, oh, it's chill, but you know what I mean. You guys are so flexible, open-minded, resilient to other people, and I appreciate that so much. Every individual here, if I've met you or not, I could just feel the energy, and it's beautiful. So thank you for giving me that warmth and giving so many other newcomers, new people, that warmth as well. It's inspiring and beautiful to have that in the state, in this world. And yes, I first met Dawn when I was 13. I'm 19 now, and I've really grown up around him, especially throughout my teenage years. And I was so inspired by his innovation, his leadership, his willingness to change. And that was just so beautiful to me, especially being around change so much. I honestly wanted more of it because change is a good thing. It's a way to build, it's a way to create. And like Awful was talking about, being a creator is so important because as humans, we are meant to create and we are meant to explore and be and express. So Dawn, thank you for expressing. Thank you for paving your own path. And me and Dawn and I have talked about it a lot, about how the system is and who he was meant to be and how he said, no, I will pave my own path and be who I want to be for my own generation. And it's just so beautiful to me because Evie, Tony, Sierra would not be who they are if you did not pave your own path. If you did not say, no, I will not follow in the steps of my broken family, of my broken neighborhood. No, I will become, I will innovate, I will change, I will create. And with the power of love, you did. And it's just so inspiring because I know with your mindset, you're not done. And yes, I'm going to remember that quote. When you are 80, I will be like, what are you doing now? Thank you, Dawn. Genuinely, it's inspiring. I will follow my dreams, and I will always remember you in my heart when I do and when I am. Life is not done. So much more to go. Thank you. Thank you.
My word is bike trip because I remember when we were biking up the hill, Don drove past us and he was just smiling watching us bike up the hill.
My word for you, Don, I'm grateful for all the respect you gave me and the rest of the youth throughout my journey with this church. You respected and listened to me and took me seriously, even though I may not have deserved it sometimes. Thank you, Don.
My word for you, Kathy, is games, because I really like the games you played for us in the youth group.
My word is inclusiveness because I personally am not a really I'm not super Christian, and but even though that's the case, I've never felt left out. I've never felt like the things that we've been talking about don't apply to me or aren't relevant. I've always still felt like what we're talking about is important to me personally and just to the world, even in my perspective. And I think that was a really valuable experience.
My phrase is, or it's a part of a song that he always sings, and it's, "Oh, what a beautiful morning." Oh, what a beautiful day. And that's the first thing I thought of, because every time on a mission trip in the morning, he'd always come into wherever we were staying, and he'd sing that song.
My word for Don and Kathy is inclusion, so artists kind of took it. But I chose it because they're always including me and stuff. And like if someone was being left out, they didn't stand for that. They didn't like that, so they always made them participate, or like at least let them in with the group. Or my word would be snowy, because I really like snowy a lot.
My word is, well, two, joyful chaos, because somehow you always managed to keep things together when I wouldn't have been able to do that.
All right, at this time, I think we're opening the mic for if anyone wanted to say a couple words. So you can just come on up here and share for a moment if you would like.
Don and Kathy, I remember when I came to Southminster the first time, Don was preaching, and I grew up Presbyterian in Cameroon, conservative, traditional church, and here's Don quoting Oprah and Malcolm X, and that was that. I never looked back ever since. We had many mission trips, many conversations about our world travels. And the one thing about Don and Kathy that's always stayed out for me is they live. They don't exist, they live. And that's hard to do, to kind of, despite what life throws at you, you just keep going. And the other that really kind of just beam out of both of you is optimistic. And so I wanted to read this short poem. It's called the Optimist Creed. I'm not sure if you've heard it before, but here it goes. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievement of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large to worry, too noble to anger, too strong to fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. That, to me, kind of portrays who the both of you are. Thank you for the time we've had together.
So my goal is to get through this without crying. I met Don and Kathy when I was pregnant with Connor. And I was also in the process of putting together a mission trip to Louisiana for the youth. And when we got back is when I really started working with Don. And the passion he had for the kids, I was definitely not trying to be the youth director, I'll tell you that now. But I love the kids, and that was where I wanted to be. And working beside Don was amazing. And so he took over, and I knew everything was in good hands, and everything would be wonderful. And I wasn't around a lot for a while because I had littles. They babysat for me a few times, so thank you. But I really loved it when my kids were old enough to go on those mission trips, and when my kids said, "Hey, Mom, come with us." And so Alaska, Spokane, Puerto Rico, Africa. Sorry I got everyone sick so many times. Or our family did, I should say. But what I really loved is when they adopted Tony and Sierra, they got Connor involved. And many of you know Connor. He's just lets him sit in the back. Don't make him do a whole lot. Don't make him be the center of attention. And goodness knows, those two boys together is not always a good idea. They would be wrestling and finding all sorts of ways to get into some kind of mischief, even most recently in Africa this summer. But I just want to thank Don because he really has been such a key part of this church and the youth. And our family may not be super religious all the time, but he got all three of my kids and my foster daughters involved. And he brought them here, and he made them feel included. All their friends they brought with them on trips. And it'll be some of the best memories my kids have, and it'll be some of the best memories I have being able to be part of those mission trips and be part of that youth group. So thank you both.
I can't get the bench out. Thank you. Thank you. I worked with Don and Kathy for a year or 2 years. I'm not sure what I did, how long it was. I come from a business background where everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and everybody kind of stays in their lane if they're not asked, unless they're asked to, There is, and in my mind, there is an amazing amount of chaos working in a church. People with very good intentions, just made decisions about what they thought they needed to be done, and they did it. And that's really okay. But for somebody who is, for me, it felt like chaos. Don and Kathy, I've been working since I was 15 years old, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but they were the most amazing mentors that I've ever had. I wasn't such a bad employee, but I wasn't the best employee. And I was always treated with the highest of respect and kindness and encouragement. And I am just brokenhearted that you're leaving. I know you deserve a rest, and I support you in that. But selfishly, I'm sad that you're leaving. I love you guys.
Hello. Hello. So I grew up in this church, but at the time that Don and Kathy first came, I was off forming my own communities in North Portland and in Seattle. And when we moved back 3.5 years ago, Kathleen and I first, I didn't know Don or Kathy, but my mother did and trusted them. And I think I'd been here all of a week and a half, and a lot was going on, and I got the message, is Kathleen going on the mission trip? And I said, well, her dominant arm and hand are broken. I wouldn't think so. And went back and forth with text and said, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, that's new. And candidly, she'd broken her arm at a camp that had not cared for her. And so I remember when we were doing all the papers and getting ready, and I was talking to Don, who I really didn't know, but he had good references, shall we say. And we were talking about this and that, and it was pandemic, and there was a lot of things going on. And I thoughtlessly said something the wrong way, but I'm so glad I did, because it was really revealing. He said, is there anything else I need to know? And I kind of offhandedly said, no, just that she keeps hurting herself. And Don got really still and thoughtful, and I could see in his face knowledge. Not shock, knowledge. And I reviewed what I said. I said, I think he said something like, tell me more. And I reviewed what I said. I said, no, that's not what I mean. I know what you mean, but that's not what I mean. I mean, she falls off of things, she dislocates her knee, and she has a broken arm and a hand. And he said, oh, okay, that's fine. But I think it was so revealing to me because it showed me in just such a short moment how lucky we were to have that wealth of compassion and experience and willingness and love working with our youth. So, thank you.
I moved to the Portland area in 2005 in the summer, and by October or so, I was settling in at Southminster, and Pastor Peg came to me as a brand new member and said, hey, how would you like to serve on an interview committee? We're trying to have different perspectives on the committee, and that was the committee to hire the original position that Don took. And so Don and I have been friends since then, and even though, it's just once every few months that we have lunch or something, I just feel the connection, and it's always been an extremely meaningful relationship. And I think all of us know Don basically saved this church a few years ago when we were going through everything we were going through, and then the pandemic hit, and just getting the ship righted was all on Don. I don't think we could say anything different. And selfishly, I had hoped that Don was going to be my kids' youth pastor when they got to middle school in a couple years. But when you told me that you were going to do this, I thought, yeah, the time is right for you in your life. And you know, I know this is going to be a good thing for all of us. Who knows what's going to happen in the next year, but I think your spirit is still going to be with us for a long time.
I know I had one turn, but I remembered something we forgot, and it was mentioned once. We're not honoring a member of the family, Snowy. I know Snowy has touched so many people in this place, and he's touched our dog, Dallas, Kathy and I. The two of them have played and enjoyed themselves so much, and you just can't leave Snowy out. So we'll miss her too, but we'll all have good walks.
All right, I don't have any pre-written response or any kind of thing to say, but I just wanted to say thank you to Don and Kathy for being some of the most positive people I know. No matter what's going on, no matter how hard you're having a day, it'd always just be a light and just make you happy. And I really want to thank you for all you've done for this whole church, but also for our two boys. You're an amazing youth group leader. And neither of the boys could be here today, but they both wrote some comments in your card here from that they had. Hamilton's was, of course, the morning wake-up song on the mission trip, and Lincoln really enjoyed all the many times. I think he went 3 times to Spokane with you, and he also did make a comment about your driving or something, but always scary. But you guys deserve this. We're sad to see you go, but we're happy for your next chapter and having more time together being empty nesters. So we got you a little gift here for a little getaway to Hood River, and you can bring Snowy, because we just went there. It's dog friendly. So hope you guys have a good time.
Hi, I just want to say that I'm not here very often, as you guys know, but I'm very, very thankful, Dawn, that you've been a support to Mark all these years, because in turn that supports my children, our children. And Kathy, you have always welcomed me here. Every time I come here, it's like I've never left. And every time I come and I see you, I'm like, I need to come back. And so I'm going to miss you guys. And just like Mark, I'm really sad that my kids are not going to get the opportunities that I've seen all the other teenagers have, because I was really looking forward to that. And I know, I've been here years, I've seen the church go through their ups and downs, and I have faith that they will find somebody maybe as good as you, too. I know that the Bunny is doing such an awesome job with them right now, and as much as whatever, I look forward to to them continuing that. But I am going to really miss you. I'm really happy that I got to know you. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank Tony, Evie, and Sierra for being great church kids. I had a church kid who spent most of their lives hanging around waiting for mom and dad to leave. And working with Dawn, was awesome. We had some of the best parties and vacation Bible schools together. And one year, my son, Brandon, was one of the interns. And Don and I had a difference of opinion of how you train an intern. And of course, you know, I was trying to protect my baby. And, but it was an awesome time for Brandon. He had a lot of growth. He had to drive home from Spokane because there were, or not Spokane, it was the reservation, because E. coli went around. And so Brandon had to drive back from there with sick kids. But you too, I love you.
Hey guys, so I remember the first time I came here, I heard Don speak. It was the height of the pandemic. And so you recall that was a real fun time. It was the first time in probably a year I'd felt any sort of hope. And I have you to thank for that. And so then we came, and I came home and said, hey, maybe we should go and check it out. And the family came, and Kathy enveloped us like a warm blanket, and we've never wanted to leave since. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully we can live up to the wonderful example you guys have set.
Okay, if no one has something to say, I'll say. To Don and Kathy, you have been very inspirational for me. It's been 2 years now at Southminster, but it doesn't feel like. It feels like I've known you both for so long, and you always have been encouraging. Obviously, you are the first person I meet on Sundays, setting up your mic. Surely I'll miss that. But God has plans for everyone, and I believe that you also have a good one. And from the Southminster Tech Group, we wish you all the best. Thank you.
So when we do our auctions for the youth mission, there's always this secret buyer that puts their bid down on those auction sheets. And we had an auction, both Dave and I, for a boat trip, a river trip dinner cruise. And there was this really strange, obtuse name on the bid. They won, but I didn't know who it was. No one could tell me who it was either. But then all of a sudden word got out that both Don and Kathy don't use their real names when they bid on those sheets because they'll just say, oh, we'll let the Ludwigs have this. So anyway, I got to meet these strange people. Both Don and Kathy and Dave and I had really never spent any time together. We're out on the river for about 2 hours. We had dinner. It was a pleasure and a joy to get to know you better, and we just had a lovely conversation. And then also, Don, during COVID, my dad died in April of 2020, and Don was in charge of everything, doing ministry, doing reach out to everybody, and one day he just called and said, is there anything you need? And this is post-Dad's death, and I was just so touched, because I didn't think I needed anything until you asked. Thank you.
Don, Tom was in your youth group in the mid-90s, and I remember one particular mission trip where several people came home with E. coli. My son was one of them. Also on that trip, Tom and Eric Olson tried to ride a cow and discovered that cows don't appreciate that. But the positive thing about that mission trip is Tom came home and he wrote 2 songs. One was the cow song about not tipping his cow, and how he was going to feed it candy bars so it would produce chocolate milk, and other such little humorous verses in there. And then he wrote the E. coli song while he was in quarantine in the back of the house. So without you, he would not have gone, and we would not have those 2 songs that we will have forever, or the picture of he and Eric Olson trying to ride the poor cow. So thank you for everything you did for him while he was growing up. Thank you for everything you did for my husband, Don, and I in Don's last days. And just thank you for being here.
Well, Trekker left, but Trekker wanted to make sure that I said something. I'm like, buddy, I've been up on the mic all day. I'm sure they don't want to hear from me. But I just am so grateful. I got to meet you as a teenager, dating Josh, and you got to do our wedding and dedicate our babies, and you would invite me on mission trips, even though I was very big pregnant. And one story I will share is Spokane, one of the trips we took. It was, 118 or something like that degrees, and I was pregnant, and I had baby Trekker, who was, 1.5, and we took the bus to Spokane, and the bus broke down, and it was like 109 degrees in the bus, and there were older people, pregnant people, and quite the adventure. And then I had rented an Airbnb for my niece to help, so I could stay there in an air-conditioned place and not sleep on the floor of a church. And the air conditioning was broken, and it was like 110 degrees in this Airbnb. So somehow we found a family that took me into their basement, and it was so nice and cool. I didn't want to leave. But just what a treasure it is to have gotten to really grow up with your influence on my life, on Josh's life, on our children's lives. And my kids just look at those old pictures of mission trips, and they just beam with pride that they got to go on mission trips as toddlers and babies. So thank you for always being so welcome, both of you. Throwing baby showers and just being so thoughtful with everything, birthday parties for my kids right after we split up. So anyways, enough about that. This is from our church family. We wanted to give you something tangible. A bigger gift is to come, and but we just appreciate and love you so much, more than words can say. So thank you for your legacy and your ministry of 40 years. Oh, sure. Thank you very much. Yes. you. Okay, so this song, I was inspired by Ben Rector, one of my favorite music artists, and he wrote these lyrics that were so hard to sing. And finally, I'm like, I'm gonna write my own lyrics. And so here it is, and hopefully I won't mess up. We'll see. Don started his ministry back when he was 17. Spokane, Westminster, Pastor Sandy. Then he married our dear Kathy. Came back to the Northwest. Loved kids, never seemed stressed. San Juan bike trips, Blanche House. Kathy's the best spouse. Been too long since we sat down and talked this way. Life is hard, but you live in good wisdom and pray. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For you have been good to me, Trekker and Odyssey. For you have been good to me and the Southman family. Thanks for 4 decades, Southmen in the Pride Parade. San Francisco, Cuba, Puerto Rico, our fearless mission trip hero. And thanks for your weekends to the Ludwigs, our good friends. Donuts, urban plunge, beach retreats, painting parking lots in the desert heat. Been too long since we sat down and talked this way. Life is hard, but you listen, give wisdom and pray. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For you have been good to Evie, Sierra, and Tony. For you have been good to me and the Southman family. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Southman is now history. You have been good. Thank you for your ministry. You are always good. Thank you. And that is it. So we love you, you know that. And we're just honored that you have touched our lives for all the years that you have. And we know that you're still around, so. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And we do have Diet Pepsi to go. And we have Snickers ice cream bars. And for those of you that are nut-free, there are some Milky Way ice cream bars. So those will be out here in the kitchen. And then there are regular treats that are not ice cream in the buffet. So thank you. Have a great afternoon.